Hello, Jim Hodges here. Deacon, the star of the show, is here. Deacon is a chocolate lab. He's actually in a place command right now. We'll talk about the place command in just a few minutes. Needless to say, this is a place that he can rest, he can relax, he can do whatever he wants as long as he stays on his bed. As I said, we'll go through the command and hand signals and things like that in just a second. The purpose of this video is to give you a resource guide for the proper hand signals, the proper motivation, little things that define Deacon, and how to move through the next 30 days and the rest of your life with him. This is a very raw video. You're going to see cats come and go into the picture, but that's part of real life in many instances. And whatever I may have to do with Deacon, I'm going to do it, because I believe you need to see what to do on a daily basis. If Deacon acts up, you're going to see me bite him or provide a consequence. If he's being good, you're going to see me praise him. In fact, you remember what I said, we want to praise 20 times more than we ever bite or provide a consequence. We want Deacon to want to do what we want to do. We want him to understand we're the leader, but we're great leaders, that we're worthy of being followed. So he's laying here being a good boy. We tell him, good boy. That's a really good boy, Deacon. Atta boy. So even though we praise him, it still doesn't release him from a command. We actually have a release for a command, and that's called break. You'll see me do that in just a few minutes. Deacon is classified as probably a happy, hyper, willful type personality temperament dog. What do I mean by that? Happy, hyper, he gets real excited. He gets carried away with himself. He wants to do things that he wants to do, and he wants to do them with reckless abandon. He wants to play with you and do things like that with you, but he wants to do them under his rules, only because he doesn't know your rules yet. So he tends to be a little bit over the top at times, but that's okay. As the leader of the pack, as his leader, we want him to be excited, but we also want him to understand that when we tell him to do something, no matter how excited, how happy he is, he has to do it. There are no excuses. So when that happy, hyper excitement causes him to break a command, we've got to put him back in that command and let him know otherwise. That happy, hyper is not an excuse to do whatever he wants to do. On the other hand, once we get through with that, I do see a strain of willfulness in him. Willfulness is not a bad thing. It is typically what I tell people about the leadership mentality of the pack. Dogs try to move towards that leadership. It's a natural instinctive thing. He's got that in him. And when we started doing obedience in the beginning, he was really happy, hyper, wanting to do the sit. In fact, he would get a little carried away with sit and start to pop out the command. Guess what I would do? I would tap the leash to put him back in place. You actually saw that with working with him yourself. He started breaking the sit command a little bit. We know it's going to happen, and we provide a little tap. We're not here to intimidate or dominate him in any way. But we started working with him, encouraging him to do what we want, praise him. When we praise him, it's good words, good touch, and sometimes treats. We're going to talk about treats here in just a second. But it's primarily, attaboy, and we pet whenever we can. We want him being rewarded by us, the leader, the vast majority of the time. When he does something wrong, we're going to nip him. We're going to bite him. Typically, we're going to tap on the leash. I'm actually providing a consequence now. I think you see it doesn't really shake him up, okay? Because he doesn't hear me doing an or no with it, okay? But we are going to go or no and bite him when he does something wrong. So we're communicating to him what's right and what's wrong, okay? So what will happen is when we started to do the down, and the down command for just about every dog out there is the most submissive position a dog has to be for the human or even another animal for that matter. He was very, very reluctant to down. That's part of that willfulness. That's part of that aspiring to be leader. We had to work real hard. We actually used a little bit of treats, a little bit of consequence to start to teach it. He has come along pretty well, but just as I told you before, dogs learn in environments and scenarios. He's learned how to obey for us here, but when he goes home, he's going to go right back to what life was before. That's part of the reason we have you out a couple of times, so that he can start to see you as that leader. We work through this. Like I said before, the next 4 to 6 weeks are really important. I'm going to provide a blueprint, a guide for you that we really need to try to follow through. The reason we do the blueprint and guide of obedience commands and little things like that during the course of the day is to teach him that you're the leader, and to teach him that you're a great leader, that you're going to praise him and love him. Sometimes you're going to give him a treat, but you're always going to praise and love him. But if you tell him to do something and he doesn't do it, you're going to bite too. But when we bite, after he does it, we're going to always come back to praise. So now I'm going to get to demonstrate the commands. If I have to bite him, you're going to hear me go or no when I bite him, and you're going to watch the tap of the leash. You will see that I will go certain directions on the taps of the leash. That's designed to help give a mental clue to him of what we want, okay? That's all it is. You're going to see me tap, no, tap, and then I'm going to praise him, okay? And then I'm going to try. If he messes up, he messes up. This is a one-take shot, so when he does make a mistake, I feel like it's just important for you to see and not just see perfect results, okay? So, because you know, as I told you before, there's only one perfect being that ever walked this earth. It's not him and it's not me, okay? So we're going to make mistakes, just like humans make mistakes daily in life. My job and what I believe my goal is to improve on those mistakes daily. So he gets to be the kind of living, breathing member of the family as your children, as your spouse, as friends that come over, okay? Well, here we go. He's in the place command right now. And just to give you a little bit of an idea of a place, this is a very relaxing command for him, but it is a command. We're in control. I usually point to the bed, tell him to place. He can lay down, sit down, stand up, read a book, smoke a cigarette. I don't care what he does as long as he stays on the bed. When I tell him to get on the bed, we're not going to tell him to down or sit once he gets on that bed. He can do whatever he wants when he's on the bed. One of the things that we're going to try to deal with is, you know, for you is the dinner time scenario. Because as you had mentioned to me before, he does act out a little bit. This is going to be a perfect way to keep him a little bit from the kitchen table, still be able to enjoy him and teach him what his boundaries are, because that's what we're trying to do. Deacon is very treat motivated. So we have to be real careful about using treats all the time. I love to use treats. If a dog is treat motivated, I use them to teach, tease, and lure new things. Once he starts to learn, I start backing away from the treats. If I want to give him a treat, I can do it. But I'm not holding a treat, and see how he clicked up? I'm not holding a treat to get him or induce him to do the command. I'm going to tell him to do the command. If he does it, good boy. What am I going to do? Good words, good touch. If I want to give him a treat at the end of the command, I may sneak the treat out. I'll have it in my hand, give him a chance to forget about it. I'll give him the command, and when he does it, I'm going to praise him, good words, good touch, and then I'm going to give him the treat. Because when I do give a dog a treat or a reward or a toy, I always provide the good words, good touch, because I want all of those phrases, the good words, good touch, treat, or toy, to be synonymous with each other, and I want him to be happy, okay? Typically in the beginning, I'll use a treat to teach. Once he knows it, no more treat unless I decide to give it to him. There is one big difference in that. When he's running around out in the yard or something like that, or we're doing the come command, I'll use the treat way beyond him learning, okay? Because I want to teach him that come is one of the happiest things in the world, all right? And that when he comes to me, he's going to get love, touch, treat. We're going to do that a couple 100 times, especially off leash out in the yard. We've talked about that. We're going to get his intention. When he starts to run to us, we're going to tell him to come. And when he comes, we're going to reward him. And we'll go over that just briefly again here in just a minute. So, place, I point to the bed. He can do this for an hour or more, okay? Great way to watch television, do homework, or just relax. He's still working for you. Great, let's go. Hear the tone of my voice. When you see me start to work right now, listen to the tone of my voice when I'm doing it, because I'm trying to encourage and motivate him to do it. So many people don't want to do that, but you do. Also notice the tone of my voice if I go or no, and when I give down. That's the only time the inflection gets a little bit stronger, okay? So the very first thing, let's go. My let's go command is he's walking with me on a loose leash, not a tight leash. When we have it tight, he doesn't understand what's going on and we're doing the work for him. A loose leash. And loose leash means he walks here or here with me. I don't want him out in front, blazing you trails, leading the pack. I want him with me so he can see me at all times and understand what I want. I'm going to praise him when he's doing it. Let's go. Attaboy, come. Pat him up to encourage him. I didn't want to bite him up. Attaboy. I turn. He has to follow where I go. All right. Now I'm getting ready to do the sit command. Sit. That's the hand signal. Good boy. Okay, he needs to hold the sit. And this is where he would pop up when he gets excited. And this is what he did with you guys. Notice he's holding the sit for me. If he did not hold the sit, and if he does it once, he's going to do it again and again. When you tell him to sit, you're going to step off. If he doesn't sit, you're going to immediately tap the leash up. See what I'm doing? Pop, release. And when I pop it, I'm going to go, ah, and then I'm going to say sit. When he goes back to sit, we're going to come back and praise him and love him. Good boy. Let's go. Come on, baby. Sit. Good boy. Walk off. No. Sit. Good. So I faked him out. I actually had to bite him then. I hope you saw what I did. Now, typically when I have to bite, provide a consequence, I'm going to try to do that again and again the next 30 seconds, a minute or two, just so that we have the repetition. He learns what I want. Attaboy. Great. Sit. Good. Good boy. That's good. And when he makes that decision to stay still, we want to praise him and love him. Great. Sit. So the sit is tap up. Now we're going to do the DOWN. Because he is a little reluctant to do the DOWN, you might need to turn the collar down here, and you're going to see me tap it towards the ground if he doesn't do it. Down. Hand signal from the side. Good boy. Attaboy. And now he's in the down. Just like with the sit, he has to hold the down until I release him, okay? So he's going to hold that command, and he's going to be a happy camper. If he didn't do it, I'm going to tap towards the ground. This is down from the side. Right, let's go. Come on, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Sit. Down from in front. Notice just the hand signal. Attaboy. Come in and pat him. That's a good boy. He's got to hold the down there as well. All right? Hand signal down. Hand signal down from the side. Right. Let's go. Sit. Good. Now we're going to do the COME, and I'm going to show you with the treat what we're going to do. The hand signal for COME is just like this. So I'm going to have him come right to me. Come. He stops in front of me. He sits. I give him a treat. Good boy. Pat and love. Right. Sit. Walk around. We're selling him on the idea of holding the command. Come. Good. Always sit. Right. So off leash, he would be out running. We would say, Deacon, hey, right here, right here. And when he commits, come. Good boy. Right. So we have let's go. We have sit, sit, down. Good boy. We can also do what's called a down stay. I don't use this as a sit stay. Down, stay. Now when I tell him to stay, he doesn't really have to pay attention. He can smell the ground, he can take a nap, he can roll over on the side. I don't mind, because when I tell him to stay, he's packing his bags, he's going to be there for a while. I also use that stay command to keep him out of rooms, or to keep him from bolting out the door. If we're going to have a situation where your door is open or what have you, we would go to that door porthole or portage, stay. And then we would step through and make him hold it. Of course, we do that in the beginning with the leash, so we can always take him and tap him back. No, 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 down, no, down, stay. Good boy. In the beginning, normally with the stay, for example, real quick, I normally keep him in that for at least 2 minutes at a time, okay? When I just down him, he's holding it down, waiting for me to do something. If he was to get up and move, we would tap, tap, back to where he was, and then, no, down. One more time. Good boy. Break. Break is my release command. When I release him, he can get up. He's not working, but guess what else he's not doing? He cannot pull me on a leash whenever I do that release command. In fact, there's never, ever a time he can pull on the leash again. So how do you practice that? You can go for walks at Tanglewood or in the neighborhood and what have you. You see someone, you want to stop and talk, you stop and start talking. If he started pulling to get to him, you would just tap the leash back in the direction you give him a little bit of love and let him know what's going on. Real quick, it's not going to take long for him to understand that he can only go as far as the leash will take him. One day you go to off leash, and believe it or not, if you've done on leash over and over again, he's going to have a sense of where he needs to be when you meet people or you go for walks or things along those lines. Okay? So now I'm going to move right over to the PLACE command. Watch me point to it. As soon as his 4th foot, 1, 2, 3, 4 foot hits the bed, I'm going to praise him, tell him good boy, okay? If he starts to come off, I'm going to tap it back. No, no, no. Place. Watch this. Right. Place. Point to the bed. Good boy. Good boy. And now he's there. In the beginning, he's going to be wearing the leash. You want to be close to him. You want to make sure at home, because it's back to that environment that I told you that he used to do whatever he wanted to do. Good boy. He laid down. I praised him for that. I want him to know I don't mind him doing that, okay? He can do anything and everything on that bed. He can have a treat, a chew bone, a toy, whatever. We just want him to be comfortable and hold that command for us. Okay? So you see the place. One of the greatest commands out there. Break. Let's go. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Good boy. Next thing is the load up command. You said he was real good with this anyway. Now we're actually giving him a word for it. It's great to help him get up in a car. Heck, if you want him on the furniture, he can get up, but he can only get up if you tell him to. Hup. Attaboy. Notice I used the same basic command, hand signal, as I did the place. Nothing wrong with that. Good boy. Great. Okay, so now we're walking. I'm going to see what I'm doing. I'm pulling out a little treat. He doesn't know what I'm doing. Good boy. So we weren't, attaboy. Right. We weren't actually working just then. We were sort of walking back to, coming back on the video, and I popped the cum out of nowhere. And I took a step back. And what I'm trying to encourage him to do is to come to us at a moment's notice. Remember how I said we're going to use the treat a bunch? We're going to use it a bunch with him, okay? And we're going to let him know, primarily on the cum, what's going to be the end result. When we give the treat, we're going to give good words, good touch. Next thing, sit. Good boy. Is the heel command. The heel command is we pretend like we've got a little box beside us, okay? And we tell him to heel. His job is to stay in that box. When we stop, he sits, okay? What's the difference between it and let's go? Only the box and sitting at the end of it. You ready? Heel. He's in the box. We make our turn. He comes with me. We stop. He sits. I step off. You notice he's holding it. Okay? Heel. Good boy. We let him know he's doing good. Attaboy. We make these tight turns. He comes in through and sit. Good boy. Right. Let's go. So basically that's it on the leash front. If he messes up, he's going to mess up. What I try to do is when he messes up, I try to repeat that command till he does it 2 times right in a row. If you've got the time, do that, okay? When he does something right the first time, we praise him. We praise him more than if we have to consequence. He's a great boy. We've got this little bitey collar on, but quite honestly, once you get him obeying, he doesn't need that collar anymore. He can go to a flat collar or a choke collar. Choke collar in this case would be symbolic. The primary reason I like choke collars, not as a training tool, but as a safety tool, because properly sized, it's not going to pull over his head. If by chance something was to happen when you were out in public, okay? So good rule of thumb, you have this collar, you have a flat collar. When he starts obeying you 9 times out of 10, the first time you ask him, then you move to the other collar, keep this collar on, and gradually replace it. I really can't see him needing this collar. Gosh, he really doesn't even need it with me anymore. So at the outside, the next 90 days, he should be able to go without this collar and do just about anything you want him to do. It's really true. He can do it. He's very capable of it. He just needs consistent leadership and a lot of good praise when things are going right for him. He needs to have something to aspire to. I think that's about it. If you have a question, you got to pick up the phone and call me. If you have anything come up, I need to know. As you know, I'm here for you today, tomorrow, next year, the year after. So I can't help you unless you let me know. And that's pretty much with anybody. He's going to do these things for the rest of his life. He will definitely do them for me. I'm pretty sure after watching you and your family work, he's going to do great for you because you have that temperament and personality yourself. Good luck to you. Jim Hodges, JimHodgesDogTraining.com, 336-945-3232. Thank you and take care. Pray. Attaboy.